Florence was still far out to sea when the media and Democrats began questioning the Trump administration's preparedness. Now the FEMA administrator is under fire for allegedly misusing government vehicles, allegations Brock Long denies. Nevertheless, President Trump says FEMA is supplied and ready. Let's talk about that with senior FEMA Regional Administrator James Joseph. Welcome to Fox News at Night. I can imagine you are working around the clock. What's the latest?
Shannon, in the room behind me, the National Response Coordination Center, we have about 175 people from every federal agency across the government, as well as our private sector partners and non-governmental organizations. And we are working around the clock to ensure that these people behind me are supporting state and local needs. We also have hundreds of people, FEMA employees, that are forward deployed, and they are embedded within the emergency operations centers at the state and some local level agencies to ensure that they have everything that they need. Disaster response and recovery starts and ends at that local level, but the state is there to assist. Other states have come in for mutual aid, and we at FEMA and the whole of federal government stand at the ready to provide any continued support that they need.
Yeah, and as the storm is rolling in, the cautions that we keep getting are about flooding, about the rain, about the ponding. This is what the Nature Conservancy says about that. Florence's heavy rains will cause ponding and flooding in places that neither the FEMA coastal flooding maps or the FEMA river flooding maps are going to do a good job of predicting. They say that the risk is way worse than it's ever been previously predicted to be. What do you do with that? Because we've talked to folks in the Carolinas who say the grounds are saturated there before Florence ever came along, and they have real worries about where all this water is going to go and what you can even do to help.
Yeah, and when we look at a hurricane right now, we're looking at hurricane force winds. We're looking at storm surges of between 9 to 12 feet. And those are things that people needed to be in the days leading up to tonight, being already prepared for, having to have evacuated those coastal areas, but obviously well inland. We're going to see not several inches of rain. We'll be seeing feet of rain in parts of the area. So there is going to be widespread flooding. It's going to be overwhelming, especially at the rate at which it could fall. Some areas could see, several inches of rain per hour. That's blinding rain, very difficult to drive or navigate through. So there will be widespread flooding, which is why we're asking every individual in the community, in the impacted area, if they haven't gotten out already, it's probably too late. Night has fallen, winds are picking up, and the rain is picking up, and they have no choice but to shelter in place. And we're hopeful that they have the supplies they need, such as food, water, emergency medication for themselves and their pets.
Well, we know people will turn to you all through the storm and certainly after as they begin to try to rebuild these communities and try to recover. We know it'll be a long process for many of them. James Joseph, thank you very much, sir, for your time.
Thank you, Shannon.